Now I will go through the whole application and probably user story one. In the main, it just calls app init, and in the wild one, it calls the app start, app.h file, different macros for the car macros, port pen macros, and the timers macros. The timer 2 macros, the timer 0 macros are set to count 1 second, and the timer 2 are set to count half a second. In the app.c, some variables and counters and flags that will be used. So in the app init, just initialization for different functions. The IO initialization, this will initialize the car and pedestrian pins, green, yellow, and red as output. Initialize the button pin as input. Then I will enable global interrupt. I will set external interrupt 0 to sense any logical change. This will come handy in detecting how long the button has been pressed. Then I will enable external interrupt 0, enable both interrupts, overflow interrupts for timer 0 and timer 2. Initialize both timers, then start timer 0. This is for the app init. And the app start, just an algorithm to go through and to ensure that it will loop between green, yellow, red, then yellow and green again. Just a simple switch case, and the yellow state, it will just flag a yellow. Yeah, that's it. Now to the ISRs. The first ISR is the timer 0 over flag ISR. So after when the ISR occurs, it will check the overflow counter. If it reached the number of overflows that preset it, then it will count. It will increment the seconds counter, and when the seconds counter reaches 5, it will increment the car state and resets the both counters. If the yellow flag is set to 1, then this is the yellow flag state, the yellow LED signal state. So it will toggle both car and pedestrian yellow pins. The ISR2 timer 2 over flag, it just will increment the overflow counter 2. This will be used in the external interrupt. So in the external interrupt 0 ISR, it should detect two interrupts. The first in the rising edge when the button is pressed, and the other in the falling edge when the button is released. So we need to measure the time between the rising and the falling to know if it's a long press or a short press. So it will increment pressed button flag, and switch on this variable. If it's pressed, which is like pressed once, then start the timer 2. If it's released, now this is the second interrupt. So it will check if the counter 2, the overflag counter 2 reaches the number of overflows or not. If it didn't, then it means it's short press. If it did, then it's a long press, so do nothing. So in the long press situation, it will do nothing. In the short press situation, it will check if the car state is green, then it will increment the car state to go to yellow and reset the counters. Else it will do nothing. Then it will stop the timer 2 from counting and resets the other counters and flags. And that's it. So now we gotta check the in action. Here's the user story 1, which nothing happens. Oh, sorry. The pedestrian will press on the car button while the car green is on. Let's start again. So the car green is on. When pressing, it shall go to yellow for 5 seconds, then red for the car and green for the pedestrian.